watch the chat. Okay. Okay. So, just thought that one of the most commonly asked questions, and if you can't hear me in time, do shout out. One of the most commonly asked questions has been around crafting. What should you be aiming for in armory? How to come about reaching that? And so I'm just going to go through some techniques as to how I craft and how I recommend to other people to craft. It is the technique that is mathematically the best approach to do it. However, I know there are some people who prefer to do pattern crafting or have some sort of routine that they do themselves because of superstitions or any other reason. There isn't a right or wrong way to craft per se. There is the most efficient way, which is what I'm going to show you. But if you are doing a particular technique that works for you, crafting is something that is very personal. There is a lot of superstition and luck attached to it. So I'm not going to sort of force people to craft in a way that they're not comfortable with, but just give them another option that you can try. People who have tried this technique, they do tend to be happy with it once they get going. So yeah. So what I do is I tend to make my templates from level 1. So I will because and the reason for this is because previously I would recommend people buy level 10 gold templates, but because of the new improved matte backpacks, level 10, no, that's level 5, I'm in the wrong one, sorry. So yep, so level 10 template is 5.5k gold. So out of a daily delivery pack, let me just quickly do the math. So the daily delivery pack is about 800k gold with the upfront gold. You're looking at about 140 templates from one daily delivery pack. However, if you make your templates from scratch, sorry? Somebody say something? So yeah, if you make your templates from scratch, and I mean going down to level 1, making your mats gold in advance and crafting these before the latest pack increase, you could get 260, if I recall correctly, templates per pack. So one daily delivery pack is 140 templates. One matte pack is 260 templates. So if you're going by pack value, obviously you're getting a lot more templates, level 10 gold templates, odd rolling from scratch, buying mats than you do buying gold. The problem is it takes a lot of time, and you're essentially paying for your time by going straight for the gold buying the level 10 templates option. It's even more now because they've increased the mats packs. I haven't done the maths, and I don't know anybody else who's done the maths yet. But I'm assuming it's going to be more closer to 80-ish templates per mat pack now. There is actually already let's get rid of this. In the Discord server, if you have selected Armory Help, in the Armory channel, there is actually a chart that explains this for you, right at the top of the Armory channel. And down here, this is based on the old pack, so this needs to be updated. So it tells you exactly what you need to make. So it's 112 leg wraps, which are the trousers. These are level 1 items. 130 rings, 22 weapons, and then at level 5 it tells you how many of each. And then again at level 10 it tells you how many of each you're making. And then at the end you have the templates ready to go through to level 15. So level 15 is when I start gambling. I don't gamble before level 15. And usually, maths permitting, my favourite gamble piece is a pair of non-event boots. So my favourite gamble pieces are the well-heeled shoes and the steel-toed stompers. And the reason for this is, if you have a look, you've got 1, 2, 3 mats and a sacrifice piece. The other non-event item is 2 mats and a sacrifice piece. And you're actually using the exact same number of mats, but it does affect the outcome. Let me just put on my steel efficiency set. So it does affect the outcome, and you'll see why. So I always hit the legendary item, because what that does is it upgrades 16 pieces worth of mats. So I don't have to hit upgrade every single time. Sometimes I'll even go to a level higher and upgrade just because of how many items I have. So I've got a couple of items there just to show you, demonstrate. Riding boots, I'm using 360 mats, and it gives me a 36.36% chance at legendary. Now, if I go to the steel-toed stompers, again, let's get 16 pieces worth of. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Having legendary items upgraded kind of messes this up. So again, you're using 360 mats, same as before, but your percentage has gone up to 40 because you're using 3 different types of mats instead of 2. And actually, this pattern is the same throughout. So where the number of mats is more, and I don't think at level 15, it's the same. There isn't another sort of higher quantity of mats. So and then because the advanced mats are usually the mats that you want to craft with for what you're wearing or for the armory, I tend to save those for when I actually need them. So I will use this sort of setup for steel-toed stompers. The other one is well-heeled shoes. Again, let's get these items up. So 1920 mats gives me 16 crafts. So I can craft 16 items before I move up to, before I have to upgrade more mats, which just saves a lot of time when you're mass crafting. I do recommend mass crafting over doing sort of like 10 items at a time. It does take longer, especially if you are a low spender, because you're having to save up the mats, you're having to save up the templates, building up over time. But actually doing many in one go is really useful because you are spreading your losses. If you hit a losing streak on 10 items, you've basically lost those 10 items. If you hit a losing streak on 50 items, you likely have some left to make a comeback. So it's all about spreading your losses and giving yourself the bigger chance of getting sort of the craft that you want. So I try to craft as a minimum 8 pieces. Lately, I've been, because of the level that I've got my armory to, I've been crafting more. I've been doing sort of 150 pieces in one craft session. If I'm crafting on someone else's account, again, it depends on the account, but I will try to do 8 pieces as a minimum for a low to mid spender. And then on big spenders, I could be doing anything from 400 to 1,000 pieces, and actually I'm doing 1,000 on somebody's account at the moment, which takes a long time. And actually what I do is I set up a clicker to do the templates just to save me some time. I can leave it to the side of my desk while I'm doing work or something else, and I can do a session on how to set up a clicker separately. I'm going to just show you manually now what I mean. So I will do all my templates. I don't actually have many level 10 templates. They're still level 5. I still need to get them up to level 10. So at level 15, we'll do either well-heeled shoes or steel-toed stumpers. And that percentage is the reason why. Let's do these 2. I'm not particularly optimistic, but let's see. Oh, we got one. So once you've done all your level 15s, you should have approximately 40% win rate. What you then do is you come into your equipment screen, go to your level 15s here, and you upgrade your fails. So for every 4 purples, you get an orange, and for every 4 oranges, you can then make a legendary. If I'm aiming for wearables as well as my armory, I will stop upgrading at orange, because I'd be happy with purple or orange wearables. Armory, I really am aiming for that legendary 35 or even a 40 for my armory, but 35 is the starting point. So I've got a few level 15s here. The next level is going to be 20, and actually at 20 I don't do a non-event piece, and the reason for that is because there isn't a non-event piece that has that extra mat split on it. So we'll scroll down. Sorry, I will blame the game for this, but it's tedious. So yeah, let's upgrade some mats. So if you have a look at this again, at 20 you have 2 items, 1.2k mats, and you have 36.36% success rate at 20. Now if you add 1 mat, so if you're going for a season 1 gear, you've taken it up to 40%. So again, you're spreading your mats, and it's going up to 40%. And then I think, does it go? I think it goes up. Yeah. So if you have a look at something like this, so you're adding an extra mat. And this is actually a little bit more expensive to craft because it's 1.6 mats instead of 1.2, but your percentage goes up again to 42%. Now I would probably stick with the 40% craft. It's a nice balance of mat cost and success rate. I personally don't think that 2% is worth the extra mats, so I would do this sort of level of crafting. So it would be season 1, season 2. Yep, so season 1 and season 2 gear for that craft cost versus percent gain efficiency. So you just want to sort of try and build up some excess mats in, potentially an armory that you're not using. So for me, I would normally sacrifice my infantry mats because I don't use infantry at all, I use cavalry. So you can see my infantry mats are really low, and that's probably because I've actually used them previously to create templates. So let's do this one. Oh, nice. That's convenient. And then the next one, again, at 20, you have the same issue with... At 20, you have the same issue with options for crafting, but there's 25. So if you go down to event items, and you can check these all yourself. There are these two which are slightly better, I guess. So these two give 40%, and then this gives 36%. But then if you do sort of an event item going up to 42%, and then I think it doesn't, does it go up again? No, for those, try this. Should have gone through and chosen which ones I was going to show you for each one before doing this, but I kind of decided today that I was doing this while I was actually out shopping. So sorry for being a little bit unorganised. So yeah, for this, actually, SAVGE, can you make a note of this, because I've only just noticed this. I actually like these two, iron, chainmail, and riveted, because they give 40%, and actually I'd missed these before. Riveted burgundy. So I would use these two pieces for crafting your level 25s. They give, again, a nice balance of mat cost versus percent gain without using the advanced mats. So you have the same cost here because this is 1.6 K mats, whereas this is 1.2K mats. So the overall cost is the same, but for 2% of a gain in success rate, you're actually using advanced mats, and they're pretty precious. So I would avoid that and probably use these two. So let's have a go at this. Oh, it's a fail. Let me see if I've got any 25s. I don't have 25 to show you. The 30s. Actually, I can go into Tudor and show you what a 25 crafting of the 25 will look at. Bear with me. It does have some 25s, so I'm just going to demonstrate with the 25s what you can be looking at. So when you're crafting up 25s to a 30, I would use these boots. And it's mostly boots, and you can see straight away you have 3 mats at the silver sabatons, and then you have 4 mats for the spiked boots. And it's always the boots. So again, you can see here that the percent rate is 42% if we're using this. The percent rate is 40%. Pathfinder is, you can see it's the same number of materials as the silver bits. You're using something like this. I don't have enough mats of this one to try. So 42% again for a level 1. And I think it doesn't change higher up. Yep, so it's 42% again. So I would stick to the first ones that I showed you, which were the spiked boots. So you have the same, again, it's the same mat cost, but you have the higher percentage. In this case, it's 42%, and you're not using any advanced mats. And it's really about conserving those advanced mats for the craft that you actually want. Is somebody unmuted? Can you please mute? There's a lot of static. Thank you. So let's see if she's got a 30 legendary. And I think I probably use her 30 legendaries. Yeah, so let's pull this out just to show you. I'm not going to craft it. So at 35, again, if you get your 30 legendaries at 35, if you are aiming for a 35, this is when you actually want to craft your piece rather than another template. If you already have a 35 in your armory and you are aiming for a 40, who is unmuted? Is White Wolf, is it you? White Wolf, I'm just going to mute you, but remind me to unmute you before this session is over, or else you will be permanently muted. Just because there's a lot of static coming from your device. So if you are crafting a template for 40s instead of actually crafting the piece that you actually want, the piece that you should be aiming for is the longbow, because again there is this quirk. And at 40, I actually aim for blue mats, not purple. And that's whether I'm crafting the piece that I want or whether I'm crafting. So the percent does go down with blue mats, so it's 36, but the cost, the mat cost is significantly higher. So you're going from, it's actually it's 100 and, let's see, I'm going to struggle to find one which isn't upgraded yet. Okay, it's 109. Sorry?
Did you say when you're going for a level 40 that you craft with blue, or a level 35 you craft with blue?
So when I'm going for 35 legendary, I will use blue mat. And that's whether I'm going to craft onwards or whether I'm going to stop at 35. I will use blue mats. And that's purely, and I'll show you the reason why. It's purely a cost reason. So it's 192 odd thousand mats for a level 4. Sorry, level 35 blue mat. And then for purple, you're looking at 760,000 mats. So that's a quarter of a pack. You're basically saying that you're only getting 4 items out of 1 pack of mats, which isn't a lot. It's pretty expensive going, and unless you are really spending a lot on materials, it's not something that I do. Usually I don't do it on Tudor, I don't do it on Hella, any of those accounts that I'm crafting on. I would usually use blue mats, and with blue mats you're getting something like, let's see, 2.8. You're getting something like 15 crafts out of a pack instead of 4. So it's a huge difference, and I think for me, I think it's worthwhile. The percent difference, if you can see here, 30 is 36%, which is still pretty decent. We were looking at 42% previously. Let's have a look. I'm going to take this up to purple just to show you the percent difference. I'll probably use these purples crafting lower items later on. So you're losing 6% average gain success rate, but I think the mat cost, it's much more preferable to go for the blue at to go for the blue at 35. So that's what I would do for 35s, and then for 40s, let me pop this back and see if she's got a 35 I can pull out. Yeah, let's pull this out just to show you what I would do at 40. So 40 is when I would be crafting, for me personally, is when I would be crafting my actual piece. And I use green mats at 40. And it goes down to 30%, but again, the mat cost is so significantly cheaper that I would rather have a couple of tries at 40 rather than just one try and have a slightly higher success rate. Now, the other thing that I don't do is I very rarely mix mats. There are occasions when I don't have mats and I'm feeling the gamble. And like I said, it is a lot about superstition, so how you feel, whether you are confident in your gamble, does play a big part of it. We are superstitious creatures, so playing to your superstitions does help. So if I am feeling the gamble, I will sometimes, if I don't have enough mat, I will go with something like that. Or if I have a lot of mats, so for example she has 31,000, I might pop in one blue. But 90% of the time I am using all of one colour. And the reason for this is changing these colours doesn't change the outcome of that 30%. and that is what you're aiming for. You're aiming for that 30%. So changing the other colours doesn't change your likelihood of getting a yellow. It changes the spread between green, blue, purple, orange. But once you have put one green item in there, you are getting that low percent. Sorry, you are getting that 30%. So putting in that blue, you've reduced your green percent, increased your blue percent, but your yellow percent, which is ultimately what you're aiming for at the end of the day, that yellow percent isn't changing by adding blue mats. So if I am aiming for armory, then I will 90% of the time use one colour. Let me show you on a smaller scale. Pop this back. You can see that was the fail that you saw a moment ago. Let's get this, and I'll just show you on a smaller scale how adding all the different colours is not really beneficial to your success rate. I really don't support rainbow crafting because of this. Well, going for the weapon. Let's go back to the weapon. Why am I stuck at 30? I want to say 5. Sorry about this. I hate this scroll feature. Okay, so going back to the longbow. So we're doing the blue, and it's a 36% success rate. If you add purple, it's still 36% success rate. Add a second purple, it's still 36%. Add a third purple, it's still 36%. The only point it increases is when you add that fourth purple. So that 42% is there when you have a minimum of 4 purple mats. As soon as you take one mat below, that 42% is gone. There you go, it's gone. Now, if we go back to all blues, if you add one green, you've dropped it again. It's gone to 30%. So that's all blue, one green, drops it to 30%. Now, your green sets the boundary for that gold success rate. Whether you add now 3 purples, that success rate for yellow doesn't change. So if you're going with green and your objective is armory, then you might as well just go with all green mats, because that 30% isn't going to change. You're not going to be more likely at getting a yellow by adding those purples. So mat mixing mathematically for the purposes of armory doesn't work. Now, if you're crafting for wearables, it's different because you probably don't mind so much getting that sort of higher purple rate. But to be honest, if I'm crafting for, the way that I craft is I always craft for armory. So when a new gear set comes out, the first thing I will craft is for armory, and then with the fails, I will make my wearable. So if I get several fails, I will combine them, upgrade them, and then I will craft up for my wearables. And I'll actually use the same quality mats for my wearables, but it just saves me a bit. So I'm not failing on wearables first, and then going to armory and double failing on armory. Let's see. Somebody is asking me in DM, they said that they tried the same technique when they used 3 purples with 1 gold. I assume they mean all purple mats with 1 gold. They've never got a gold. Now, I think that is purely a numbers and luck thing. I don't honestly think anybody is so unlucky to never get a successful craft. It can be disheartening at times when you hit a losing streak, and I've had them where I have actually cried because I've crafted so much, and then at the end of it come out with nothing, and it's heartbreaking. But you need to carry on. You need to keep trying, because when you hit that winning streak, when you get those wins, when you get that armory, that number that you were actually looking for, that's it. It just gives you such a high, and it keeps you going forever. I'm just going to block my screen just for 1 second, just to check something.
You start gambling at 20 or 25?
I start gambling at 15. So I do gold mats all the way up to level 10. Once I have my level 10 templates, I start gambling up from there. I will use purple mats at 15, 20, 25 and 30. And then I will use blue mats at 35. And then I will normally use green mats at 40.
And at 20 is where you use the excess higher level mats?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so at 15 I will use those steel-toed stompers or the well-heeled shoes. At 20 there isn't, that I've noticed, and I noticed today 2 shirts at 25. At 20 there isn't a piece where it has that little quirk of using an extra mat for a higher percentage. So I will I will use advanced mats at 20, and then at 25 those 2 shirts that I showed you have that extra mat. At 30 there is the boots, and then at 35 there is this weapon. Just give me a second, I just need to mute for 1 second.
Excuse me, it seems like the advanced mats give you a higher percentage than the base mats. I mean, I've done that before. My advanced mat I'll use at a real high percentage, and then the base mats will be like fine or exquisite, and I get a much higher much higher success rate. Is that true, or is that just luck?
I think that's just luck. We gamble, we mass gamble on a sort of large scale. I do this style of crafting for, like I said, for multiple accounts, and it's a style of crafting that is widely used by many people. Now, some people do believe in pattern crafting. I don't. Some people will go down and do buckets for either pattern crafting, or the only reason I would do buckets personally is if I've hit a bad sort of losing streak, I will come down, do some buckets, and get some losses. I mean, I'm using rings here, but the idea is with level 1 items, you're just getting some losses out of your system, essentially. If you hit a losing streak of, I usually, if I'm doing this, it'll be sort of aiming for 5+ losses in a row. And I'm going back and hoping that, okay, I've got my losses out of the row, out of my system. Hopefully, I can sort of hit my win. In all honesty, it's like I said, it's superstition. If you believe that something works for you, continue doing it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But if you aren't particularly attached to your method of crafting, or you're finding it extremely expensive, or it's not practical, or it's not working for you for whatever reason, it's purely a numbers game. And I've actually spoken to somebody in customer support for Warner Brothers, and they said that they have a whole textbook on how the crafting system for this game works, and it is exactly as it's described. It's a lottery, essentially, a weighted gamble, essentially. So you have the rates that are stated. So the rates that are stated are pretty accurate according to their textbook, and if you do it in practice, they're pretty accurate. Also, the founder of GoTC Tips has done a lot of research into the coding, and he found some information that supports the maths and the fact that it is exactly what it says it is. And the articles written by Tips on the most efficient way to craft are based on his findings, and that's the way that I craft. So if you are finding little patterns here and there, if they work for you, by all means stick to them. I'm not going to tell you to do something and then when it fails you're going to be, oh, but Ruth said I'm failing because I'm doing what Ruth did. If it works for you, carry on doing them. But if you're doing something that isn't working for you, or you're unhappy with, or you're willing to try something a bit different, this is technically, mathematically, the most efficient way to craft. So let's get the string back. So the next thing with Armory is to actually have a look at the armories that you should be aiming for. Now, we have a really good section in the server, which is the gear help section, and for each troop type, we've listed the armories that you should be aiming for. I am somebody that really does advocate focusing on one troop type first, getting that troop type to a really good level before you start building a second troop type. So I would say, for me, I recently updated the infantry ones because we updated the tips article. So for me, as a cavalry player, these are the armories that I would be aiming for. This actually sets out the order of priority that we would recommend. So Dothraki is the foundation of cavalry because it's got all that health, in the same way that Corsair is for ranged and that Lannister is for Lannister is for infantry. So I'm just going to pop back to my account. And we're going to have a look at the armories and look at sort of the target levels that you should be aiming for. I've got a notification while I'm doing this. Let's have a look at the okay, that's not a question, so that's fine. So if we have a look at the armories, let's have a look.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Why is the Tourney Queen the wearable piece for infantry? I mean, can't you use Dornish Royal instead of the infantry, for the infantry piece? But, I mean, it seems like it's only for the dragon. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, so the chest piece, do you mean?
Yes.
So we've actually recommended the Tawny Queen chest piece as the attack piece for infantry. So we've only recommended it for when you are bombing out a seat. And the reason for that is we each let me get this up on Zoom. So you see, each recommendation has a different purpose. So when you're attacking a seat, trying to bomb out a seat, your sole goal is to clear the troops in there. Your own losses shouldn't matter for that objective, because even leaving one troop in that seat means you're not getting the seat. So the goal is to go as high attack as possible, and then and sort of sacrificing other stats to reach that. So this recommendation here is Tawny Queen, and we can have a look at the stats in game. So Tawny Queen has this troop attack while marching at 33%, and then if you have a look at the infantry Dornish piece, and I'm looking at level 50 grey, so just bear with me, but it's the same mass whatever level you're looking at. You have infantry attack and infantry attack while marching, and that adds up to 31%. So you have 14.3% and 16.7% almost. So you have 31% from your Dornish Royal. You have 33% from your Tawny Queen. So it's slightly more attack even without your dragon. And then if you have your dragon, you have even more attack because you have that extra 10%. So for infantry, the Tawny Queen chest is really worthwhile because you're getting that dragon attack as well from your dragon march. An extra bit of attack in general for your dragon march. And then ever so slightly more attack on your non-dragon march as well. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. So press the only
Yes,
thing
it does.
I would
Thank you very much.
No worries.
press
Okay.
the only thing I would say for that is that if you have if you already have Dornish at a very high level,
Yeah.
then you know crafting this in addition might not be the best one, and even at a lower level you can still have the Dragon March boost and the March size boost. So it's a must buy piece, but it's the highest quality you have because it's only 2% difference.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you should still be making this for your March size set and your Dragon March size set, because it's and then you have the Dragon attack versus dragons, which is a nice bonus. But for attack,
I'm sorry, I just have a really small dragon, so I looked at it and I didn't think it would be beneficial to use it to attack a sop. That's all.
Yeah, okay. If and like Deep said, if your Dornish Royal chest is a really good quality and you're not going to get the same quality with your Tawny Queen, then stick to your Dornish Royal, definitely. But all our comparisons for tips are based on you having the same quality item across all. So yeah. Okay, so if we actually have a look at armories, let me see if I've got one with a 35. I've actually destroyed a couple of armories recently trying to get them higher, so I may be lacking in options. Okay, so yeah, I've got a 35 legendary here, and we can show just how much of a difference a 35 legendary makes. So you go all the way to level 162 with just one piece. So I always say, as your starting point, you should always be aiming for a 35 legendary in your armory. And the same goes for a 40 epic. So obviously you need other items to unlock the stats, but to get to that level, which gets you to the really good stats, to the really sort of decent starting point for your armory, a 40 epic. If you house 45, you have an additional option, which is a level 45 legendary, not legendary, exquisite. So, no, I don't have. Sure, I had one somewhere. Yeah. So if you have the level 45 exquisite, that also gives you the same sort of starting point with armories. So you got level 161 there, level 162, level 163. So the 40 epic is slightly better, but yeah, it's about getting to that base starting point that you can build off. I would always aim for the 35 legendary. If you end up with 35 epics at 35, or even at 30, I wouldn't combine 30 epics. I would leave them and upgrade them up. You then go for the 40 epics. I don't tend to gamble for 45 exquisites just because the steel cost is just, for me, it's just too high. I can't afford to be paying 20 million steel for a gamble at 45 purple. So I don't personally go for that. And then if all you need to do is just pop some filler pieces in, and you have some pretty decent stats in that armory, 55% steel crafting efficiency. And obviously you can up that a little by putting higher filler pieces in. I think at this level, if you're aiming for this level, what I've done here is absolutely fine. So I would aim for the level 165 to 168 type level for your armories initially, and you're doing it for the listed armories for your specific troop type, but also, and I think a lot of people neglect these, you need to do it for your generic armories as well, because they will add stats to your specific troop types. I know they don't say ranged, I know they don't say infantry or cavalry on there, but they do say troop. And if they say troop, that means they are applying to your range, they are applying to your cavalry, they are applying to your infantry. And these are as important to get as the specific troop types. And in some cases, they're actually more important. So something like Blackfire, which has defense and health, for somebody who is like an infantry main, who is struggling with defense and health, that is a really important armory to be doing early on, and not waiting to do your infantry armories and then filling in. We've tried to sort of give a priority order to do that, but again, you need to look at your stats, look at where you're struggling. If defense is where you're struggling, then you need to be doing sort of your Blackfire and Blackwater. If attack is where you're struggling, then it's something like Faith, Tyrell, they're what you should be aiming for. So look at your stats, look at where you're lacking, and prioritize that way. If you're unsure, follow the orders here. There is a question, I'll get to that in just a second. And then if you are a dragon player, the Tawny Queen Armory is really, really important. If your dragon is level 55 or higher, then Tawny Queen Armory should be really way up there on your priority, because that troop defense is priceless for whatever troop you have. Whether it's ranged infantry, really struggling on defense. Cavalry have so much health, not a lot of defense. So that troop defense is really, really important if you have a level 55 plus dragon. Let me have a look at that question. So what is considered to be good quality when comparing the two chess pieces? Basically, we're saying that if you have a particular quality of the Dornish Royal chest, you're looking at, let me get a live difference in the chest. So in grey you have a 3% difference. Let's see if green 32%. You're looking at, that's 30, what's grey again? Sorry, I have a memory of a fish. So you're looking at one colour difference. So if you have a purple Dornish Royal chest, you need a blue Tawny Queen to match the Dornish Royal. So you need to have the same colour or higher of your Tawny Queen to make your Tawny Queen worthwhile for non-dragon marchers. Now, if you are a heavy dragon user, then Tawny Queen is going to be worthwhile at the blue, because you get that 10% extra on your dragon march. Hopefully that made sense. So once you get the armory to level 165, my next step is getting a second 35 into the armory, and that takes you to around 185, level 185. And just to show you the points, the sort of stat increase that you're looking at 185. So yeah, you're going up to 69%. What was it before? That seems high. That can't be right. Again. It increases pretty drastically. Okay, so your 185 is 69%, whereas I'm currently at 163 with 53%. So getting a second legendary piece, in legendary 35 piece into your armory, is going to give you approximately 15% more of your steel crafting efficiency, 15% more speed, which isn't that important unless you're really low on speed ups. And then let's have a look at how much march size it gives you. And it gives you another 300 march size. So that's a pretty decent increase for getting your second legendary 35 in. Once you've got your second legendary 35 in, that is when I will go for the 40. I'll start crafting 40. And one 40 piece is just heaven, because that takes you straight to 196. And then all you need to do is literally put in level 5 fillers, because getting from 196 up to the next level is not only pretty expensive on the pieces that you need to use to fill, but also not really worthwhile on the return on stats. So this gives you 61% at 196. Let's push this to 197. 61.5%, and that's cost you a level 40 item to get there. So for me, if you're going for your next level, that breakpoint is 196 armories with just a single 40 legendary piece. And just to demonstrate, getting that 168 without a legendary is expensive. This is a 169 armory, and I have a full level 40s in here, and it's not even unlocked all the stats because I don't have 2 legendaries. You see, taking this out. Let me just pop. What did I have? The weapon and the boots. Weapon. I don't think I have enough mats to guarantee yellow. So this is going to be a gamble. Wish me luck. Wait, watch me fail. To epic with just 1 epic mat. Oh no. That was lucky. So yeah, the alternative to getting your 168 is stacking it up with level 40. Getting 3 or 4 level 40 purples is pretty expensive, pretty difficult, both on mats and steel, which is why I like to focus on the technique that I mentioned. Now, if you fail your level 40 legendary, I tend to save the epics and combine them into a legendary because I'm a wimp and I don't like gambling to 45s. I have more fails at 45 than I do any other colour, but also a level 45 epic is just so much lower in level than what a level 40 legendary gives you. So level 45 epic is 191, and then a level, which one is it? It would help if I knew my own armory. A level 40 legendary is 196. So I don't often gamble for 45s. I lose too often when I try. So yeah. So once you have the 196, your next jump is to the 210 armories, which is basically 2 level 40 items, or like I have here, a level 40, a level 45, and some high level filler pieces. These are all fails. These are all fails. So that's why I have these high level fill pieces. I don't tend to craft high level unless I'm going for a piece. The chest was a 45 epic attempt. The boots were a 40 legendary attempt. So yeah, I had a horrendous time on Hound. I think I had 13 level 40 fails between wearables and armory. And you can actually watch one of my fail crafting sessions. I crafted live on tips for the Hound gear on Tube's account, and I think I've never had so many DMs after crafting as I did after that, saying that they were screaming, shouting, yelling at the device, watching me craft and fail. so many times for poor Tudor. So yeah, I really hate 45s. So yeah, so going back, your priority is going at 168. We've discussed how to get the 168. Once you've hit the 168, you're doubling up to gain the 185. Once you've hit the 185, you're going for that 40. You get the 40. You've then cleared 235s out of your armory to gamble. So that's really nice, because then you have 2 more attempts at another 40 for something else. And I'm just going to disable this a second while I change accounts again. And then again, it's the same thing when you're going for, you're doubling up on your 40s. You're going for your 210 in your armory. And then if you are really specialized or high level, you might even be going for 45s. And at the moment, there is only one person that I'm going for 45 legendaries on. I don't have very many, don't have much, because I do genuinely hate crafting level 45 templates. Not templates, level 45 legendary items. Sorry if I'm rambling on. Okay, I'm now loading. Poor Tudor, I've left her on read while I am speaking to you guys. And then you can see the level 45 is 70.1%, which is a really nice level to be. The next best is going to be if you have 50, level 50 epic. This was, I was rage crafting. I don't recommend rage crafting. Like I said, there is a YouTube stream on Tip's YouTube site that shows you just how badly I did on Tudor's account. And yeah, it was really bad. I can't begin to express just how bad it was. And then the next craft event, I freed up a 45 legendary, 45 epic in one of the armories. I can't remember which one it was. I got a 45 legendary in an armory, and I think it may have been Dragon Knight, and that freed up a 45 epic. And I was like, what do I do with this 45 epic? It does nothing leaving it in the armory, because if you have a look at the crafting points, and always come and have a look at this, have a look at what adding an item does. So going from 216 to 217 isn't much of an increase, but once you've hit 217, it's a huge jump. It's 400 points to get to your next level. So the level 45 is barely one level once you get to this level. So it didn't really do much in that armory, and I thought, what do I do with it? I'm just gonna YOLO roll it for Hound, because that is the bane of my existence. And I hit it, and it fixed her armory, and basically the 45 the legendary is almost the same amount of points as a 50 epic. So you get a similar level, and you can see the points. And I'm always looking at these points, coming to here, looking at how much I need for the next level. Is it worth it to craft the second piece? Is it not worth it to craft the second piece? and that's the level that I'm at the moment. Now with trinket armories, I think I'm going to leave that for another day, because trinket armories are a whole different kettle of fish. If you are house 50, they are easy peasy. You just crafting one level 50 piece and popping it in and you're done. For other people, it's a bit more complicated. We have in our gear help section, in the armory section, there is a table saying what combinations that you can use to get that holy grail of 105. And you're aiming for 105 because there is a stat jump. You can see 104 is 19%, 105 is 5% more. So it's one level, gives you 5% more. So here is a load of different combinations of gears that you can use for your trinket armory. So that's what you're aiming for. I tend to go for a 40, this one's the cheapest, 40 blue, 45 blue, 15 legendary. If I don't need that, a third stat, because it's the third stat that needs at least 2 blues, I just go for 2 45 greys. Because I hate trinkets, I hate crafting trinkets, I hate gambling for trinkets. I always fail. All of these 50 whites in Portuguese armory, they are, every single one of them used to be higher quality and was a fail. So yeah, so I'm going to leave it at that today. If you have any questions, please do ask. I feel like I've been talking at you for a very, very long time. I need to go get some food. I will wait a few minutes for you to ask any questions before I do.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate all your help.
No worries, and thanks to SAVGE, because she's recorded this to YouTube, so you can always go back to YouTube and cross-refer to anything I've said in case you forget, or in case I'm not about for whatever reason. Of course, you're always free to DM me. I don't mind. You can always use the mentoring system that we have, which you can come up to the very top of SAVGE Society. There is a mentor request channel. Just hit the ticket and it creates a new private channel between yourself and the mentors, and there is a team of us that can help you and answer your questions, whether it's crafting related, enhancements, heroes, anything game related. We will help you to the best of our ability.